Welcome to Key Conversations, where you get to connect with the best of the music business, unlocking the secrets to exploding your music career, presented by In the Key of Success. I'm your host, Cheryl B. Engelhardt. The conversations you're about to hear are between our special guest and participants of my MX4 course, the Marketing and Branding, Money-Making, Mentorship Mastermind for Musicians. They are singers, songwriters, composers, producers, and artists just like you, asking their burning questions of our experts while transforming their careers over 6 weeks. If you think this could be you, check out mx4course.com to schedule a free half-hour coaching call with me to see if we'd be a good fit. So, let's get started. So today I'm super duper, that's like 4 dupers, excited to have Benji Rogers here, the founder and president of Pledge Music, which is a fantastic platform for artists to connect with their fans. That's how I sum it up. I don't know if that's how you would sum it up. And this is a perfect time for me. I don't talk about in this whole podcast in MX4. I don't actually talk about me as an artist very often, but I'm launching my very first Pledge campaign next week. So this is
amazing.
This is so exciting. And I'm, the guys that are on this call are all musicians creating music. And I am so excited to sort of dig in with Benji. And I want to say right off the bat that Benji's got an awesome story. I mean, we are all doing what we love, striving to make a living doing what we love. And if you read Benji's story, there's a great podcast. I don't know if it's a podcast, but audio that you can listen to on Mixergy. I love that interview. It really digs into your story. I know that we're going to have questions for you about how to really utilize Pledge Music as artists. And I think that's what our listeners are going to be listening for. But just know that Benji's got an awesome story. If we don't get into it too much, there is already a really cool interview out there that sort of digs into it. It's very inspiring and powerful, and I was hooked. So thank you for being here. Yeah. So I just want to start just a quick, little intro. What are some of the highlights that got you to where you are? And I mean, Pledge is hugely successful right now. I don't know what the current numbers of how many campaigns are launched a month or subscribers that you have, but I know they're in the subscribers are in the hundreds of thousands, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
And
maybe up a little from there. You never know.
Yeah, it's amazing. So what are 3 life highlights that sort of got you to here, things you look back on fondly and that are part of your story that we can use as a
sure. I think that if I had to say one thing, is I started this as a musician for musicians, and it was really to quote Jason Fried, to scratch my own itch. I wanted to offer a way for my fans to be a part of the making of my music. I always felt, as a collector of bootlegs and, unreleased studio recordings and that kind of thing, I always felt that there was that there was a market for that. And that my fans would always say to me, oh, that song you played, can I get a copy of it? And I'm like, I only have a demo. They're like, sounds great. And they were excited about the demo almost more than they were excited about, I'll get it when the album comes out, but the demo would be cool. And I think that really it was understanding that if you think like a fan, if an artist thinks like a fan and asks themselves what a fan wants, then you'll know pretty much what it is to offer them. The greatest irony to me in the music industry is it doesn't ask its fans or its users what it wants. It just says albums come out on Friday, they come out in these formats, and this is where you can consume them. What an odd thing when you have a tool like Facebook or Snapchat or Instagram or Line or Vine to be able to say, when would you like the music? Do you want this delivered to you at 7 a.m. when you wake up so you can hear it first thing? Like, why don't we ask those questions? It's really not that hard to do. And so I think one of the things that really got me there is that I just wanted this tool for myself. And I would wouldn't it be cool if this existed? And I went to look for it, and it simply wasn't there. I think, so that'd be one. The second thing was I was told that it wouldn't work. It would be too hard, and that's not how it works, quote unquote, by pretty much everybody, except for one amazing, actually a couple of amazing entrepreneurs who basically said, this is awesome, you should build it. So to not listen to the 99% of people who say it's not a good idea, but to listen to the ones that do, I'll tell you this, as artists, you're crazy, right? If you go into this blindly. But I'll also say this is the greatest time to do it. So you're crazy to want to do it anyway, but it's also the greatest time. And I think that the third thing is that as an artist myself, I was forced to be entrepreneurial. I did not get the record deal that anyone would have wanted. I did not get the big attention and fame. So I had to hack my way through. And what Pledge really is, and what the apps and the things that I play with now are extensions of my creativity. Pledge was a different canvas to paint on. I was painting on a website with code and with, playing with business plans in a way that I would have dealt with music before. So it's a part of your brain that is required. I don't know that I'm necessarily the guy that runs the company. I think I'm the guy that creates things, And I think that having that creative and entrepreneurial spirit as an artist, and not accepting that this is how things are, you have to go out this one route, not accepting that is a really large piece of being successful in anything that you do. And pretty much when someone tells you, or pats you on the shoulder and say, yeah, great idea, but listen, it's just not how it works in life, often know that that's probably the path that you should go down. Not all the time, but look at why? Because people fear change, but to me, change is exciting and change is vital. And when someone tells you, look, sorry, but you've had a crap idea, listen to them if you respect them and trust them. Absolutely. But it may be a crap idea in their mind, but it could be a brilliant idea in somebody else's. Think of all the rejection letters that all the famous artists you've ever heard of got from various labels, right? Yeah. Well, actually, normally you wouldn't get them because the A&R person was so terrified to actually say no to the Beatles or to Beck or Ed Sheeran or you name it. So I think it's those are my three sort of ballpark openers.
Awesome. No, those are awesome. And one thing that I've been thinking about too is how to use Pledge in that, the platform, not just to raise money so that you can make a record, but really as a engagement tool and a buzz builder. And I feel like there's so many other things. And I think a lot of artists think of it as, oh, well, I'm not doing a record right now. Maybe I don't need it. So exploring the outside of the box reasons to be on Pledge as an artist and funding. So
yeah, and to be clear as well, Cheryl, it's a great point. When I was constructing it, there are 1,000 backlogged ideas that the dev team have ready to go, right? I mean, they could just be built all day long because the ideas that have some harebrained, some brilliant. Well, take what I can get, right?
Yeah.
But I tell you this, it's artists forget that what they do is fascinating to people who either don't know how to do it or who view them as really good at their craft. So technically speaking, I know how to play drums, but I don't know how to play drums like John Bonham, right? So when I watch a video of John Bonham playing drums, I'm in awe. Now, technically speaking, I know what he's doing with his hands. I know what Vinnie Colaiuta does. Steve Gadd, I know what they do, right? But it's like watching an alien doing this. You're like, how do you make it sound that good? How do you get that tone out of a guitar? Everyone could pick up a guitar and play an A chord, but they could not make it sound like Jimi Hendrix in Greg's picture there. So, and he was doing it backwards and using his thumb. I mean, just so artists forget that just those little things that are throwaway for the majority of what they do are like gold for a fan. I don't necessarily know how to write lyrics the way that you do, right? So your process is interesting to me. And if you keep that in mind and you think to yourself, well, you know what? I don't have to be making an album right now, but I'm writing songs. Why don't I offer them now? Again, the music industry says that albums should come out when they're finished, packaged in glossy boxes or ready, shiny MP4s or WAV files or whatever format we're using, Pono files, right. Whatever format we're using. That's when it's ready.
Right.
And that is true for a large segment of the fan base. But for a whole bunch of others, it's irrelevant. I want the new Churches album. I want to buy a signed copy of it. The label will not allow me to do that today, because it's not ready. I don't care if it's ready or not. When I found out they were in the studio 4 months ago, I wanted to buy it. I would like to buy Lana Del Rey's new album today. I'm unable to. It's not my fault, right? So what I think is fascinating is why can't I buy this while it's being made and watch it unfold? Why is that not available to me? And what's interesting is that if you think like a fan, then you reverse that and you say, well, actually, the most interesting bit I'm doing to this one segment of the fan base is right now. And it gets less and less interesting the more done, finished, produced, squished, ready to go it is. So, and ironically, that super fan is 17% of all music consumers, but they spend 60% of all the money. So if you chase the other percentage of it, which is much larger number of people, you're basically chasing the hard part when the easy part is, I just want to watch you play the bass. Just show me how you do that. Like, or you're writing a song, or, whoa, I can vote for what color vinyl this is going to be. This is amazing. Or like, you're going to upload 4 different versions of the artwork and let me choose which one I think is best and tally those votes up. Or, which song should be the single? Why don't you guys let me know? And in almost every other media business, they ask the fan what they want, and they provide and offer the ability to spend a higher amount.
Yeah.
In the music business, they've said, this fan wants to spend $100. Let's send them to Spotify.
Don't send them to Spotify. No, don't send them there.
But here's the thing. The fan that would spend $100 will also listen to it on Spotify.
That's true.
They will do both.
Yeah.
So what would you rather have? The fan able to do what they want, or the fan not able to do what they want, and listen to it in the same path anyway. So I think that when you're going about this process, think of the pledge platform as a canvas that you can paint on, and you should challenge your campaign manager to say, can I use it in this way? Can I offer VIP tickets? Can I offer house concerts in this area? Can I upload 4 different mixes and see which one they like the best? Can I crowdsource? Ben Folds did this a while back. He did one where he said if you pledge a certain amount, I will record a different version of the song for 10 people with their names in the last verse and send you a CDR of it. Like, awesome.
Totally
right?
awesome. Yeah.
Costs. So all he's doing is he just cuts another vocal of the last verse. Insert name, done. Or Mike Doty, who said, I will lavishly praise you on Twitter for a week.
I'm still
all
in
of
that
a sudden, if you follow Mike Doty, so all of a sudden it's like the world would be nothing without Cheryl B at or life means nothing without Eddie and his red walls, or something along those lines. So like it's a new canvas to paint on, and the nice part about that is you've got time and space to do so, because you're not sitting there saying I've got to hit XY deadline. If the album is delayed a month, you tell your fans, in order to make you the greatest album possible, it's going to take a month longer because I got laryngitis, whatever it is. And fans are incredibly forgiving if you keep them informed. Mm-hmm. And most these fans are also your influencers. Yeah. So, the average pledger spends $55 per transaction. So is it better that they are able to do that or not? Mm-hmm. If you're making an album and I can't buy it, that's not my fault. It's yours as the artist, as the performer. So if you allow them that route, and it's not about being the most famous artist in the world. This is about the 20 or 30 hardcore people that want to see you do well. Mm-hmm. Let them be a part of that. Then they have something to share. And then when that record is held in their hands, it has context. It means more. And that's really the heart of the engine. Is it's a different canvas to paint on. And as a fan, when you watch an artist use it well, it's magic. It's really it's a powerful engine. It was designed to be flexible, malleable, and it's got rules, obviously, because we got to keep the fans safe as well. But it's I'm talking. I will talk for hours.
This is great. I mean, it's inspiring, and it's like, this is kind of a no-brainer. So, well, I've got tons of questions, but I'm going to pass it off to the MX4 participants that are on the call here, because I know they've prepared some questions. So we'll just go back and forth until I'm burning with my questions, but they probably already will.
Not a problem.
Let's go. You guys make sure you unmute yourself, but let's start with Eddie. Do you have a question for Benji here?
What characteristics do you see most consistently with your more popular campaigns? Like, what makes something stand out?
You mean offering wise, or do you mean experience wise?
I mean,
I guess for the fans, like what do you see consistently in the most popular campaigns that make them successful?
Yeah. It's a great question, and thank you. The most popular questions, the most popular campaigns are when the artist engages with the fan directly. So, when the artist says to a fan, I'm thinking of making multicolored vinyl. What color do you think should be in there? Or when the artist says, hey, I've got days off in between shows. I'd love to come do some house concerts. Who wants me there? Where you're basically uploading the iPhone version of the song that then goes to the next version of the song that goes to the next, like where you're basically giving and taking with the fan, because that's an experience. If you think about like what makes reality TV show popular, right? You don't know what's going to happen. It's got like the end is not in sight. We don't know when it ends, right? It's got this kind of winding thread. Well, an album is kind of like that. We don't know what it's going to be called. And luckily, if you don't know what it's going to be called, then you can reveal that. So the characteristics of the campaigns are engagement between artists and fan, where they use our system as the thinnest skin between the artist and the fan. And then I would say where the artist sources from the fan what to offer. So it could be like, if there's any one thing that I could offer you in this campaign, what would it be? And you will see this flood of responses from your fans who've already bought something, right? Saying, I'd love to buy that guitar pedal that you used at this show. I would love to buy this at this, and then you offer it, and then that fan is happy, right? So it's quite logical. And then the average number of updates you want to have where you update your fans is around 16, 17. So one every week and a half. More than that is awesome too. And the updates don't need to be polished and finished. Sometimes it can be, pick up your phone. Hey, I'm at the airport. I'm about to go and play these shows. I can't wait to get back to the studio for you. Just wanted to say hi. Click. Yeah. That is awesome. Like, picture your favorite artist in the world doing that, or being a little bit more mysterious. With like just maybe skating over the mixing board and watching the faders do their magic while you're hearing 15 seconds of a song you've never heard before from an album that is yet to be finished. And one of the artists that did this really well, and he's a more well-known artist, obviously, but it was Ben Folds. He did one whereby, he was like, he shot it on his phone. I think it was a BlackBerry even, and it was the three of them rehearsing harmonies around a piano, and you hear them rehearsing it, and then when they lock it in, great, let's go record that. And that was just this little moment, and I remember it because every time I hear that record, which is now on my wall over here, there in 3 parts. Every time I hear that record, I hear that harmony that they were rehearsing, and so it's like it gives you this little moment of like, oh yeah, I saw that go down, and I think that when an artist does that, it shows a sensitivity. This isn't for everybody as well. It's not for all artists to do. If you want to be more mysterious, if you work in EDM, it could be. I'm going to make. I think it was the Chemical Brothers that used to do this. They used to do rough mixes for DJs only and cut really limited runs of vinyl, like test pressings, and they were called electronic weapons. And they would hand them out at clubs. Like, we can do all this kind of stuff again. You can get lathe cut vinyl for $35-$40 a pop, right? So offer that for $100 and say there will be 5 rough mix vinyl versions, or offer the test pressings for the vinyl that you make. And the campaigns that engage with the fans, and where the fan can, if you were to say, I'm going to be on the pledge site answering questions at 4 p.m. tomorrow, ask away. Or at 5 p.m. tomorrow, I'm going to offer a reverse auction whereby the guitar I'm going to sell starts at $5,000 and goes down by $500 every hour. Right? Think about it, because it's going down in price. You want to go in, so you got to figure out where you're going to go in. So like just thinking outside the box, and then asking fans. And if a fan says, that kind of sucked, you just say, I'm sorry, I won't do that again. But rather try than not. There's an off the cuffness to it, which is really appealing, and it shouldn't be too standardized. It should be organic, and it should be viewed as an extension of the art that you're making. The way in which things gets to people, I think, can be as important as it's an essential part of it, right? So if you were to take your artistic brain and say, I'm going to spend 99% of my time thinking about how I make the music and 1% of the time thinking about how it's going to get to people in a world where all things are flat, where everything ends up on the streaming service anyway, you know what I mean? Versus sitting there saying, hang on a minute, let's take 10% of our time. And I have a rule, which is if you spent 20 minutes every 2 days thinking about something cool to offer your fans, just 20 minutes every 2 days, right? So that's a lot of hours in that time. What would you come up with? Task yourself with that. And then what you find is every couple of days you do a really hilarious tweet, like the snare drum sound from Bitch by the Rolling Stones. Great or the greatest, or you could be like, I'm drinking coffee, I'm staying up all night, I'm gonna write a song and I'm gonna release it to you pledgers tomorrow morning. No matter what it sounds like, no matter how bad it is, you're gonna get it. And this stuff doesn't have to live in the liner notes. It's like a living liner notes. It goes all the way through. So
I love that. Living liner notes. Awesome. Great question, Eddie.
Copyright 2015. Did that answer your question?
Yes, you did.
Okay, perfect.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Cool. Greg.
I guess in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, and I don't know if this is a question, but I'm thinking like, well, does like sending out, like, say, a rough mix of a song have impact on the final product? Do you ever see anything like that? Or
yeah,
I mean, did it affect sales, or
No. I mean, if you think about it, it's actually going to augment sales. So again, if you aren't that kind of artist, don't do it. It's got to be natural to you. You should, I'm not saying everyone should go and release demos. If you're really precious about your demo process, don't do it. This is a living, breathing thing. But if you do make a demo that's going to sound, I'll give you an example. Peter Gabriel did a song for the soundtrack to the movie Until the End of the World, and it's a demo version of a song that was on a later album. And it is a killer version. And I searched for years to find it, right? Because I heard it in the movie, and I'm like, this is incredible. I think I recorded it from it so I could have it, right? And it's definitely rougher. It's not quite as done, but it's this magical scene. And it took me a long while to buy it. And I actually ended up buying, I think, on a CD single. I found it eventually, right? And it says demo. And that's precious to me, right? I'm telling you about it. That's how much it means to me, right? So you may create a really intimate home recording or something really kind of off the cuff where there was a bit in it that you'll never recreate in the final version. And so to me, if that's the entry point that sells you 100 more albums, because again, when they pledge, they're buying the end product. It's how you get to there, So we're not talking about the last mile. We're talking about the way in. The last mile is the mass-produced product for everybody, and that's still fine. There's nothing wrong with that. Pledge isn't an exclusive thing. It's not either or. It's as well as, right? You offer this to your super fans, and then for everyone else, you offer the finished product. The super fans will take a journey with you. The regular fans just want to press play and have it make them happy, right? And neither are wrong. But if you don't offer the superfan experience A, and you only offer that superfan experience, the last mile, they simply can't do more. If you're a fan of Beyonce or one of the larger major label artists, chances are you're not going to be able to buy a signed test pressing, a handwritten lyric sheet, an experience of any kind. And that's a shame to me, because what I know is that, artists make a really great living offering this stuff. And it's not that you're exploiting, they want it. So no, I think it augments it, because ultimately when you listen to that original, to the final mix, you'll be able to go, this is actually much better than the demo, or kind of for the demo. You know what? It's having someone search for a year to find that demo again is a good thing, right? That's a good thing. We want that. And or saying to a fan, I don't normally release this kind of stuff. But I'm doing it because I trust you guys and I want you to have it. That's awesome, But it's got to be who you are. It shouldn't be forced. It's not a. You can do other things. You can reveal album artwork before anything else. You can say, I'm thinking of 3 titles. Which one do you think is going to end up? You can do it in that way. But just again, think like a fan. You got Jimi Hendrix on your wall. I imagine that you've heard pretty much everything he's done, right? you know there's more, right?
Oh yeah, there's all kinds of
And
bootlegs.
you want it.
Yeah.
So again, if there are fans of your music who would feel the same way, what is it that you could deliver to them that would allow them to spend at the value and at the level that they want? Pledge is really a big super fan community of people who want more and not less, right? So to not be in that community just means that you bypass them. You're not in our recommendation piece, our algorithm, you're not in our newsletter because you're just not there. And so these super fans never get exposed to what you do. It may be 5 super fans, but you know what? Those 5 are more likely to bring in 5 more people than 5 people who maybe heard it on Spotify and just were like, yeah, kind of like that.
Yeah.
They may flick it to a social, but not like, this demo is incredible, you got to hear it. You know what I mean? So, I'm someone who I'm a digger. I'm also a customer. All the vinyl in my office is, I bought it, and I can't afford it. You should see it's pretty silly. So, but I want it. I really do. So my 2 of my prized possessions, right? I got many prized possessions, but this is one. I've got a signed handwritten lyric sheet to the song Orgasm Addict by the Buzzcocks, signed by Pete Shelley. And I'm a massive fan of that song, A. B, I was able to buy a handwritten lyric sheet, so I did, but I also bought a sticker and I also bought the album signed, and I'm telling you and anyone who's listening about it, right? The second is a handwritten lyric sheet by a guy named Salim Narala, who wrote one of the most beautiful songs I've ever heard called The World is Full of People Who Want to Hurt You. And I wanted the lyric sheet, so I have both of those. I've got a Mike Doty stream of consciousness lyric thing based on F. Murray Abraham, because he said, you mention a word or a phrase, and I will write a stream of consciousness lyric around it. So these things are sitting in my house, on my wall, prominently displayed, because I could, right? And imagine if you open that experience up to those fans, it's possible. It's possible, and it's very, very effective, So, yeah.
Awesome.
Cool.
Does that help?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was great.
Cool.
Great question. I got that. Like how much, and it comes back to the conversation that we've been in. How much do you give away for free? How much do you offer? And I know that a lot of artists, I've had lots of conversations with artists that think that launching a campaign is, I need help, or I can't pay for my own thing. And it's not help. It's Benji, you said this, they're buying a product or a service or an experience. And, those are the 3 things. Everyone is selling something. Musicians are usually selling some portion of all 3. And it's not help. It's just an invitation, an opportunity for them to become part of something. And I know so many people that are not passionate about what they do, and that no one's going to say, hey, can you stop talking about your really awesome passion, please? No, I mean, everyone wants to get involved. It's contagious, and it's definitely not a help thing. And I love that you said that, Benji. They are buying something.
Yeah. And Cheryl, the thing I point out, all music is funded by fans. It's just a question of when they pay for it, right? And if you can make more money before the album's finished, why not do that? Totally. If those fans, because if a record label advances you the money or the fans advance you the money, which one's better? The answer is both. If the fans advance you the money and then you get a record deal, that's even better, right? So, and that happens all the time. So you got to look at it as this is you're giving the fan a better experience than they can get anywhere else. It is better to see this album being made and come from you than it is to just hit play on a streaming service. That's not to say that hitting play on a streaming service is bad. It's just limited, right? So, it blows my mind because quite often, I see that. So if I told you that 100 people would spend $55 on your album before they've heard it, if you would let them, or 100 people would stream your music, which one would be better?
The first.
Again, the answer is both. Both would be better because they're still going to stream it afterwards.
But not for $55
the whole point is
stream.
No, exactly. So let them pay $55 and then let them stream it afterwards wherever they want, because then you're getting both streams of revenue. But the fan is getting a better experience, and they're getting something that they can share not just once, but at the 16, 20, 25 things that you share while it's coming into being. So it's just about, again, just think like a fan. What would you want that fan to offer? And you offer it.
Awesome.
Okay, we're going to stop there today. Stay tuned next week where we continue talking with Benji Rogers of Pledge Music and dive even deeper into this whole process of fan funding. Please don't forget to rate and comment on iTunes and Stitcher Radio if you like this podcast. It's the best way to keep it going, get more subscribers, and continue to share this awesome information with the indie music community. Thank you, and we'll see you next time. All of the music on this podcast has been created by yours truly. The theme song is called Inevitably, written with Cameron Ernst and produced by Joey Ock. You can find all the songs, plus more information on my music career at CherylBE.com. If you want to be one of the reasons I can keep this podcast and my blog Living on Gigging going, then head to patreon.com/CBEmusic. There, you can contribute $1, $2, $5 for the creation of each of these free musician resources. Together, we can keep them coming and inspire other creative people to do what they love and do it well. Again, that's patreon.com/CBEmusic. Key Conversations is sponsored in part by Bandzoogle. They make it easy to build a beautiful website for your music. Their step-by-step system gets you online in minutes, and you can choose from hundreds of mobile-friendly themes and customize them with their easy point-and-click editor. All the features you could possibly imagine for a professional website are built in. So, because you are a Key Conversations podcast listener, you get a special 3-month free trial just for you. Go to www.inthekeyofsuccess.com/resources and click on the Bandzoogle logo to access your free extended trial.